Okay, so the podcast you're about to watch is definitely something that's been out of my comfort zone. Before, during, and after like a couple of days, I've had to sit back and think about it. I have my own personal beliefs, and but I wanna be very clear that if you watch this and you listen to it, and you're gonna feel a certain way, you might not, but if you feel that urge that you have to say something nasty in the comments about your personal beliefs, I'm gonna give you some advice. Nobody fucking gives a shit, so you can keep that shit to yourself. So how I feel personally and how you feel personally is definitely not a reason to be disrespectful to anyone. So while the conversation that you're about to hear is pretty, at times can be pretty intense, keep your negative shit to yourself. Respect whatever process that somebody else had to go through, and we can all get along. All right? Hope you guys enjoy. The following podcast contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. All right, here we go. Toni. Hi, how you doing? Oh no. You're messing things up already. Yeah? All right, very cool. All right, so I asked you to be on the podcast. A couple people found out you were coming, to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
Right, so we're going to keep things super low key about where we are and where we work, where we live, and who we're associated with. Okay? So those are the ground rules. Don't break the rules, because then Joe has to hit you with something. Okay? He's looking around for stuff.
I have my granny purse.
No.
My friend calls it a granny purse.
It's a big purse?
It's right there.
I don't know. I'm a guy. I don't notice these things. Yeah. All right.
He's like, what is that? Your bag of grandchildren of 5? I'm like, no.
Grandchildren of
like
5 grandchildren? A lot of grandkids. Yeah. So, all right. So I'm going to give the brief history without breaking the rules myself here. Okay. And I was completely in the dark originally because I don't pay attention necessarily to things. I have conversations with people, and I talk to people. I communicate very well with people, but I don't. And I'm very observant, like situationally awareness. Like my situational awareness is like really good, but little things I don't pick up on, just because I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Right. And at the end of the day, we're all people, and I've been places in my life that I'm literally surrounded by all walks of life. But I am by no means not an expert. I am not an expert at all when it comes to the psychology or anything like that. Okay, I just know people, not anything else. So originally, when I was in the place where I first met you, you were flirting with me a little bit, and very flattering. Okay. I don't know how to respond to things like that, so I do nervous laughter, or I look away, or I scroll my phone. I don't pay attention to that shit like that does not happen to me. Which is, I'm 41 and I've never even really been like, I don't look for stuff like that,
So it catches me off guard, okay? And then I want to say maybe like a week and a half, 2 weeks go by, and I guess you and Joe had a conversation out in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And, you know, and I don't know if you know this about Joe. And this is why Joe and I get along so well. Joe keeps things so tight to his chest where even if we're talking about something and he knows something, he won't tell you.
Yeah.
Like the people on the ghost hunting team that we're on, like I'll be in the room when he like books something and he's so excited, or a new piece of equipment that comes in, he's like a kid on Christmas. And they're like, what is it? What is it? He's like, oh, you're going to have to wait. And the next meeting's not for another fucking week. And so he keeps everyone in suspense. I think it's fucking hilarious because I know what it is. You know, I know when things happen. But that's how close he keeps things to his chest. Maybe not because he's so good at keeping secrets, but more because he likes knowing things that other people don't know. Am I right with that, Joe? Yeah, he's shaking his head over there. Yeah, I know people, Toni. I know people, right? And so we're going to fast forward, and the next time, I'm ordering, I have a fucking root beer in my hand, and I'm ordering a root beer. And again, very flattering, right? But you said some shit to me that, like, you were talking to me, and my boy Joe was uncomfortable. Like, Joe was, like, beet red. And, like, after the whole exchange, like, we walked out, and I was like, yo, what the fuck just happened, right? And right after that, I got to go talk to somebody that, you know, that works there and about, you know, wrapping something for him. But I just fucking couldn't concentrate on it, you know? And then Mr. Information over here. Yeah, well, you know, he's like, listen, there's something I need to tell you. But I don't know how to tell you, right? Because we know each other well, but we, you know, we're not, I wouldn't say we're like expert level friends, right? So there's, you know, some things when you talk, you don't know how people are going to react to things. I don't care, right? I was like, I knew there might have been something, but it wasn't red flag worthy, right? And so it gone. You know what I mean? And then I said, oh my God, I need to, you know, to talk to her and get her on my podcast, because this would be a fucking amazing conversation. Not mentioning the things that you said to me, which you can find by going to various porn sites on the internet, right? But I was like, but you know what, man? Things like that have never, ever been said to me. And now I can scratch that off my list of things that's never happened to me. It's happened to me. Congratulations, you hold a spot in the book. Right? So I wanted to bring you on and introduce you because we had a conversation after I invited you on the podcast. We had a long talk in here about a little bit about your the way you grew up and a little bit about your family and your current situation and you know, when I was mentioning that I was going to have you on, it was like a 50-50 response. Are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure you want to do that? Like, is it, you know, are you going to... And I'm like, she don't got rabies, bro. You know, like, am I worried about you jumping over the table and, like, attacking me? I'm not worried about that. Okay? I hold multiple black belts, and there's always a knife within reach. I mean, and I've got 3 guns hidden in this office. And so I'm like the Asian John Wick, okay? Worst person for you. Better jump in the desk and jail.
Wick, the movie?
Yes, yeah. John Wick the movie. Keanu's the man. We're getting off topic, Toni. Right? So I thought you had an amazing story. And I would, because in the area where we are, it's not very diverse people-wise, color-wise, personality-wise. So it can be difficult. I find it difficult as a Asian person in this town because I see people driving by like, did we open a dry cleaner in this town? You know? That was an Asian joke? No? Okay. Anyway. So, but I will say this. On St. Patty's Day, I was going to the UPS store, and there was a woman, full grown woman dressed as a leprechaun.
Oh, yes, I saw that.
Does
I
anybody
saw
know
that.
who that person is?
So she is, I think she's deaf.
She's deaf.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think she lives by herself. She either lives by herself or with her parents or her sister. I forget which
Okay.
one. But I know she's deaf.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool. In the spirit of, St. Patty's Day, all right. But this town, we're in the process of redeveloping the town, bringing in more businesses, more diverse businesses. So we want to bring in more diverse customers.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, I think that the town needs to, sort of, be a little bit more accepting, I would say. So I want to start off this podcast, even though we're like 10 minutes in already because I fucking talk too much. I want to hear from you.
Okay.
Tell me a little bit about, you growing up. Where are you from?
I am originally from Vineland.
Okay.
I was born in Newcomb Hospital, which is now torn down. There's a whole story to that.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a whole story to that hospital.
Is it a scary, spooky story?
Kinda.
Remember, like what? Like people die. A lot of people died
So
there.
the owner of the hospital, that was the main, I call the honcho
Uh-huh.
of the hospital because he was the main doctor. It was
Right.
his building. He had it built. He wanted it to where when he died, he wanted to be buried on the ground with the building built on top of him.
Really?
Yes.
And they did that.
Yes.
And
And then after I was born, I lived with my grandparents and my stepmom and my stepdad. And then eventually came along one of my stepsisters, and then my stepdad was in the military. And then we ended up traveling to 2 different places. And then when we moved back to Jersey, we stayed with my grandparents for a bit. And then way later on, I think I was...
well, let's not get too far ahead.
No.
We're jumping now. We're
Sorry,
time
but
traveling.
a couple of weeks ago, I looked online and come to find out the building was torn down because when I was in high school, kids used to go there
Okay.
and vandalize the place, and so many people said it was haunted.
Ah.
And then half of it got shut down and turned into a blood work place where you would go and get blood work done for jobs.
Okay.
And then after that, it just got torn down.
So it closed down as a
Yeah.
hospital facility long before that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that's interesting. Joe, we got to look into that. Newcomb Hospital?
Newcomb
But it's tore down,
Hospital.
you said, right?
Yeah.
There's no buildings there anymore?
Not that I know of.
All right, well, we'll look into that.
It's in Cumberland County.
Cumberland County, yes. Good old Cumberland. All right, so we had a brief discussion because you are considered transgender, which is can be confusing for some people because they think that that's synonymous with being homosexual,
Yes.
right?
Well, they confuse it with being gay, drag queen, flaming gay guy, or what some people call a twink.
Okay, I've never heard that before. I really haven't. This whole thing is new to me, and the group that I run with. Not that we're homophobic or transphobic or any kind of phobic. We just don't understand, and it's just not a part of our normal everyday life to communicate with or be around or even associate with individuals that identify. When did you start having a feeling that you were
It
female?
wasn't so much a female. I guess it started when I was 4, and at the same time, that's when I started noticing that. Well, I didn't know anything then, but I knew when I was in like my senior year of high school that I was a sensitive empath medium. But at the same time of developing that and seeing things, I also started not knowing that I was female. It wasn't until I was in 3rd grade that I noticed that I started having attractions to boys.
Okay.
And that's a whole freaking mess in 3rd grade.
3rd grade,
That was a
absolutely.
whole
Kids
mess.
are brutal.
Oh, I got called into the principal's office and sent home early. My 3rd grade teacher slammed me against the wall. She was crying because I was like a teacher's pet. So I was like her favorite student in the fact of what happened.
And where was this school? What's
Silver Run.
Silver
in
Run
Millville.
in Millville?
Yes.
Okay, so your 3rd grade teacher
Yes.
flipped out,
Yes.
sent to the principal's
Yes.
office. And I get, what year was that roughly?
That was probably 2000.
Year 2000. How old are you?
I'm 30.
Okay, you're 30. All right, so you're still young. Plenty of time, right? All right, so there was the year 2000, which is really interesting because I can imagine a scenario taking place like that in the 80s. I was in fucking 3rd grade in the 80s. Thanks, guys. Yeah, but I can see something taking place like that in the 80s and maybe even like the early 90s. But even my high school, a couple of my really good friends were gay. And just to show you how like just out of it I am, I just don't pay attention. I didn't find out till after I graduated that like one of my best friends was gay and he used to stay at my house. I used to stay at his house. Like, but there was no, there's always boundaries, right? And we spoke about that because, after our talk, we had to talk about boundaries, right? And because you're a cool person, you're a nice person, and I definitely only want good things for you. But I don't. There's just some things you can and can't say to people, and because, like, I'm different. I didn't want anyone to get fired. I didn't want to cause a scene, right? But I can guarantee you that anybody else, like if you said that shit to Joe, you'd be working at the car wash. I'm just playing. Joe's cool, right? But there are sensitive people out there that take offense to that, and they take it the wrong way, So we're gonna go back to 3rd grade. So you get sent home, and the principal talks to your folks.
Well, I found out my parents were already there. My step-parents were already there way before I went to the principal's office.
They were at the school.
Yes. They got called out of work.
They got called to the school from work over the emergency that you like boys.
Yes. But it's a little more than that.
Okay, what? Okay. So let's get into it. What happened?
Okay, so I know cursive. My 3rd grade teacher taught us how to do cursive, and me and one other student, our cursive matched the teacher's writing, but my teacher couldn't tell our cursives apart. So one day in class, this girl, Isis Cherry, who I thought was my friend, was like talking to me. She's like, so do you like anyone in the class? Like, do you, like, in 3rd grade, I found out these kids were doing some shit that I knew nothing about in 3rd grade.
Like what?
Having sex.
In 3rd grade,
Yes.
in the year 2000.
Yes. They were having sex, and they knew about porn, and they knew all kinds of shit.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
That's a whole other topic, but we're going to finish this and then we're going to circle back to that because
Okay.
I got some shit to say about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So she asked, I was like, yeah, I have a crush on this boy. His name was Steven. And, oh my God, he was gorgeous. And he's like the 2nd person I've said that about.
Oh.
I don't use gorgeous a lot.
You don't throw it around all willy-nilly.
No. I don't throw gorgeous around like I don't throw love around.
Gotcha,
Like I don't
gotcha.
use love unless I actually mean it. And I don't throw gorgeous around unless I actually mean it. And there's very few guys that I even find gorgeous. So, and she was like, well, do you want me to write a letter? I'm like, oh. I was like, so she wrote the letter, and she's like, what do you want to say? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I think you're really gorgeous. I really, really like you. I want to hang out and get to know you and all this stuff.
And she wrote
complete opposite shit. She wrote in the letter, which I found out when I got home, it said that I really like you and I want to sleep with you and I want to suck your dick and I want to have your children and all this shit. Yeah, it was bad.
So
It was complete opposite of what I said.
holy cow! So she cursive framed you.
Yes.
What? And you tried to explain this, obviously.
So I got into the principal's office and they're like, do you know why you got called down here? And my parents were like, And I'm like, now I'm in the office crying because of what my third grade teacher did to me. And
right.
I'm still trying to recover from trying not to cry.
Yeah.
And the principal was like, do you know what you got called down here for? And I was like, no. And she's like, well, what about this letter? I was like, sometimes I'm absent-minded. I'm like, well, there was a letter, yeah. Well, what was on it? I was like, well, I didn't write it. I just Sherry did. Well, it's in your handwriting. Like, so then after the whole conversation, we got sent home. Or I got sent home and my step-parents drove. It was a very silent, awkward drive home.
Yeah.
And we got home and they told me to sit on the floor.
Yeah.
So I sat on the floor and they sat on the couch. They sat together on the couch. And they're like, so back then they went by my legal name. And they were like, Anthony. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, so we want to know what, from your side of the story, what happened. So I told them. And they're like, okay. They're like, okay. And they looked at each other. And they got up and went to the kitchen, and I heard them whisper, and they come back, sit down, and they're like, okay, well, so we have some questions. I'm like, okay. They're like, do you like boys? I'm like, yeah. They're like, do you like girls? I said, well, yeah. And they're like, well, do you understand what we're asking you? I said, you're asking me if I like them as people and as friends. They're like, no. They're like, are you attracted to females? I says, I think they're pretty. They're like, are you attracted to boys? I was like, well, I like them as friends because I don't know any of this. Like, I was raised in a fucking bubble under a rock most of my life. I had to find out stuff the hard way. And they're like, okay, well, so do you want to date boys? I was like, no. Well, do you want to date girls? Like, I'm at that age and in that grade where I'm not thinking about it dating. I don't know what dating is.
Right.
And I said, no. And they're like, okay, well, are you gay? I was like, yes. They're like, do you know what gay is? Now, my third grade teacher taught me that gay meant happy. And she played us Over the Rainbow by the guy that sang it. And she taught us so much. And I was like, yeah, I'm gay. And they're like, do you know what gay is? I said, yeah, it means happy. They're like, no. They're like, in this day and age, it means, do you like boys? I was like, yeah, I like boys. They're like, they just weren't,
yeah, there was just like there was a communication breakdown, right?
And then they're like, okay, you can go upstairs and do your homework. And that was it. But before they ended the conversation, they said, if you are gay, you can tell us. We don't care. We love you. You're our child. We don't care.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And they're like, all right, go upstairs and do your homework. And then I think after a while, I started I was probably about 12, that's when I really started collecting pictures out of the People's magazines from my mom's. She would throw them out, so I would take all the pictures I thought were of hot guys, and I would save them and stick them under my mattress. And my stepmom was always finding my stuff, and she would get mad at me. And she would throw them out, and before she threw them out, she'd confront me. And she's like, what is this? What is this? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I was like, there are pictures of guys. Well, what are you doing with these? And then it got into, I got bullied a lot at school. And they were using terms I didn't know. So I would Google it online, and of course, fucking Google.
Yeah.
Porn popped up. And I was like, so this is what a dick licker is. I was like, okay. Like, I thought that's what it was. I didn't know there was another term for it. I was always searching in gay porn. And they're like, okay, well, we have to put a lock. They put a lock on the computer. So I had to have permission to go use the computer. Like, it's not like I was searching this all the time.
You were just referencing what people were saying to you.
But because Google wasn't bringing up the definition for it, and I didn't know how to search stuff because I'm still using computers, porn was popping up all the time. So I was associating to what was going on in the porn.
Oh, Lord.
And after a while, I got kind of interested in it. So, like, I would watch it when my parents were asleep, and then after a while, they called on, so they started getting mad at me, and I was getting punished, and they didn't like it, and then I got sent to private Christian school, and then I got...
So what grade were you in when you went to private Christian school?
I was in 8th grade, half of my 8th grade year.
Half of your 8th grade. Hey, Joe, can you do me a favor? Can you push the button on that air conditioner? It gets really loud. And I don't, just so we can turn that off. Yeah, so half of your 8th grade year, you were in a private Christian school. Do you think that they were a little bit more harsh in the Christian school?
So with that, the one reason I wanted to go there, I kind of wanted to go there, but I wasn't, like, because my family was church going, we went through different religions of Christian, and it was Christian, born again Baptist Christian, and born again Christian, then Baptist Christian, and then, like, because my stepmom was Jehovah's Witness, and my stepdad was Catholic, and then my stepmom realized because her grandparents were Christian, so she started going to that, and then my dad converted over to Christian, and I was baptized Catholic. So I went through every Christian religion there was, and at this point I'm like, I don't care about this shit. Like, I hated it. But I wanted to go there because I realized, I couldn't take public school, but at the same time they were sending me there because they thought that maybe something would change, because they looked at me one day and said, we knew you were different, but we didn't know you were this different.
So did you feel like they were less accepting?
I was told that I wasn't, before I went my first day, because we had to write a letter, like an essay, to be able to get into the school, of why we think we should be accepted into the school first. Why we should go to the school, and then we had to name off 4 Bible verses. And then once we got accepted, that's when we started attending. But my step-parents told me, listen, when you go here, you can't be acting this way, you can't be doing this, blah, blah, blah. And so I was confined to how I was supposed to act and how I was supposed to talk and blah blah blah. And so I went to school, and it was okay. Like, I found a few guys there cute, and I thought, oh my god, my Bible study teacher. And then
you're gonna catch flames.
I found out he was my gym teacher, and one summer, oh my god, his shirt was off. I was like, so I decided to act like I was better than the rest, to show off in front of him and run super fast, because we had to run the track. And I ran super fast, and I got past them. I was fast. I did a lot of walking and running, and I made it my second lap, and I started getting tired, and I was like, no, he's So like I kept it in my mind he was watching just so I could get through the laps before anyone else. So I was passing everybody. Like once I got to my second lap, they were getting ready to go on their. I got on my third, and I got on. And then they were getting on their second. So I was like, I have such a crush. His name was Mr. Lester, but the kids used to call him Child Molester.
Probably a good reason to not hang around that person. I don't know. Someone's
No,
nickname.
he
It was
was
maybe just because
married
it
and
just
he had
mastered.
kids.
Just because it rhymed. Is that it?
Yeah,
Lester, the
it's
child
because
molester. Yeah.
It rhymed. And then I
Yeah.
found out my stepmom had a crush on him. And I got really super mad because I was like, oh, fuck, no, I ain't having this shit. I ain't have no fucking competition for my hot ass fucking teacher.
Oh my God!
Fuck
You're in a Christian school. These are unacceptable. That's
And
unacceptable.
Then, eventually, I got kicked out of school because somebody logged into my account. So, with private Christian school, on the computer system, everything's linked to the principal's office, the dean.
Yep.
And when you log into something, it shows up on his computer that you're not supposed to. But they have security systems on the internet.
Right.
Well, I wasn't technologically smart. So I didn't know, like, I went and did what I had to do for research and stuff. But somebody was able to hack past that protocol and past the firewalls and past the security systems to bring up gay porn.
Oh.
Because I had a conversation, and I have a feeling I know who, because I had a conversation with her on the bus one day, and she's like, so is there, anyone you like? Like, she was like, oh, so are you gay? I'm like, no, I'm not gay. She's like, do you like boys? I was like, yes, I like boys. And at this time, I kind of understood what it meant, but not fully. And I was like, I have a crush on this person, and blah, blah, blah. And then, couple weeks later, I guess somehow someone got onto my account in the library and was looking up gay porn, and it showed up on the principal's office, and I got suspended and terminated from the school. And then my sisters got bullied for it. So I got bullied.
So they
for it
stayed.
all.
They
Yeah.
stayed in the school.
And I went back to public school.
You went back to public school.
Yeah.
All right. Now that's 8th grade.
This was around maybe close to my 10th grade year that I got kicked out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Out of school.
I
Right.
had the private school.
Right. So now you're back in public school.
Yes.
How does your family, what's the family dynamic like at that point?
At that point, I got blamed for a lot of stuff. Because at a certain point, I was basically like the maid of the house. I didn't have a Christmas. I didn't have a birthday. I didn't get to eat with the family. I did the cooking, so I would serve the food, but didn't get to eat with them. They got gifts and I didn't. So there was a lot that I missed out on for holidays.
You just felt like a lot was being taken out on you, right? Let's fast forward a little bit to after high school. Shortly after high school, do you move out early?
They kicked me out.
When did they kick you out?
When I was 16 going on 17.
That's a tough time too, in any
I
person's
think I was
life.
getting ready to go into my 11th year of high school. I was halfway through my 10th grade year.
And they kicked you out because you were.
So there was an issue. I started going to Votech. I wanted to do nails, hair, makeup. And they told me, no, that's gay. You don't do that. Now I remember back, I'm like thinking to myself, like, you said you would accept me no matter what. And here you are telling me, no, I can't do this, this, and this.
Yeah.
Because it's gay. And they eventually stopped bringing me to church. So I got left behind at home, which I didn't mind. I hated church. But I was like really bad. And so they were like, I think the reason I got kicked out because, well, there was this kid and I was going to Votech and they made me end up going because I like drawing. So I took digital graphics because they wouldn't let me do the nails, hair, and everything. So I started going to Votech for digital graphics, and I did that to my senior year. Well, there's this girl who I knew on the bus, and she set me up with this boy she knew. And I liked when we started dating. He got me a cell phone. It was like the flip phone.
Yeah.
So like I hid it from my step parents, and we started texting through that when I had a chance and stuff like that. And I guess he went to my sister's school.
Oh.
And he started bothering her and about me, and that's when my step parents found out. And then my stepdad found the phone because they searched my bedroom when I was at school, and they tore my room apart. They threw shit out. They stripped my room. I was left with a bed and a dresser and clothes, and they took me down to the boys' house and made me break up with them, and then they gave the phone back. And then a couple of months later, I guess my sister, he was still going to my sister, so she thought we were still dating, and she went to my stepmom because my dad was at work at the time, and it was nighttime, and I'm eavesdropping because I want to know what the hell is being said.
Right.
And she came back upstairs, and my stepmom's mad, and as she's coming up, she's getting ready to go in. It's like, you're a fucking cunt. I was like, you're a fucking cunt. I was like, you know nothing about what's going on, and you think this is, why didn't you come talk to me?
Yeah,
Instead of going straight to my...
This is you telling your sister
Yes,
this.
I was like, you're a fucking cunt, you're a goddamn bitch.
Yeah.
I said, why didn't you come talk to me before going to mom?
Right.
I said, so now you think this, mom's gonna get mad, call dad home for an emergency call home, and...
It's not an emergency.
No.
Right.
Because she has to tell him this, and they want to deal with it. So they came up to my room, and I slept with the door closed and the window open so I could feel the cold air. And I had the fan going in the radio because it helped me sleep because I had really bad insomnia. And they busted into the room. They started going off on me. They tore my room apart, looking for whatever they could find. And they're like, we know you have another cell phone, so they stripped the whole room apart. And then they told me to get the fuck up, and they're like, we got into a huge argument. And like, I heard stuff about my grandma, but I didn't know it was true until much later after I got kicked out. But they said, where are you gonna go, blah, blah, blah. I was like, grandma will accept me, grandma this, grandma that. They said, you can pack your shit and get the fuck out. So they said...
Like that, the verbatim.
Yeah, and
Wow.
It was like close to midnight.
Super Christian of them, by the way.
And it was storming out, and it was lightning, thunder, rain, and it was cold. I packed what I could, and I walked from one end of Millville to the other end, and I walked to the back road to Vineland to my grandparents' house.
You walked?
And, yeah.
Wow.
And I fell in a ditch, sprained my ankle. I had to climb out of that. So by the time I got to my grandparents' house, I was just covered in mud. And I sprained ankle, and it was like, at this time, it was like 2, 3 in the morning. And they're like, what the fuck? So they let me in, and I told them, I was like, please don't send me back.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, please don't send me back.
Yeah.
And then
Do we have any tissue, Joe? Like paper towels or something?
after
Yeah,
a
can you grab
couple
that for me?
of weeks, they took him to court, and we went and got the rest of my stuff, and we went to court, and the judge was like, my one sister was there, and I got called out of school to go to it. And the judge was like, so what's this about? And my stepdad said, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't know what this thing is. I don't even know who it is. This isn't my child. I have my own family to worry about, so I'm giving all parent control over to my mother. And we ended up leaving the court, and they got full parental control over me. And my stepmom gave up partial control over me because she had partial, because I don't know if it was given up after my stepdad and my real mom broke up and had a divorce or whatever, but she gave up partial. And then it got really bad at my grandparents' house.
At your grandparents' house, it got really bad for you? Okay.
My first year there, my first Christmas,
Mm-hmm.
they got me a brand new flat screen TV and everything, and I broke down and cried.
Because up to this point, it's been a while since you've received anything from anyone, right? Yeah. Okay.
I had a brand new, the brand new phone that just came out. I had all new clothes. I had a bed set. I had a flat screen TV, PS3 when it first, no, it was the PS2 or the PS3 when it first came out. All kinds of games. And a couple of weeks later, they came to me, my grandmother came to me and asked me how I had liked my gifts, and I started crying. And she goes, "Great, now here's the receipt." Now, I remember when I was growing up, we weren't allowed to see my grandmom because there was conflict between them and my step-parents.
Right.
And my stepmom had say, and we weren't allowed to see her. And I would eavesdrop and hear conversations about, if she offers you something, it's either going to be money or she's going to expect something back, and it could go all the way to your life.
What does that mean?
So I guess I found out who my real dad is. There's so many stories to that. But
Okay.
basically, he ended up hanging himself in prison because I didn't know until I was a certain age. I was much older then. My whole life, I thought my stepdad was my real dad, and come to find out, apparently he's my uncle.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. He hung himself in prison because of my grandma.
Okay.
My grandma treated him, I don't know, it was a weird relationship from what I heard. But basically, she would come home late at night and sit on his bed and tell him all about her day.
Okay.
I'm sorry, should you be telling your husband all about your day? Why are you going to him? And their relationship was real weird. It was beyond mama's boy. And then I guess she called the cops on him, set him up. And then he ended up in prison. And then, long story short, she showed up in prison. And I guess some words was said. And I have one picture of him when I was one. Sitting on his lap.
Mm-hmm.
And
Take your time.
I didn't know he was my dad. I thought he was my uncle. And come to find out, he hung himself in prison because I guess some words were exchanged through my grandma and stuff. And come to find out, he hung himself because he ended up suicidal. He was fine in prison because if you look it up,
Yeah.
you find out of what happened when he was totally fine in prison, the records say. And then after my grandma came by to see him,
She must have said something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when I lived with them, I was abused mentally, physically, emotionally. After a year, I had to go get my wisdom teeth pulled, and I had Oxycontin prescribed to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm the kind of person, I can't take medication.
Right.
Um, us like normal people, because I'm very sensitive to medication, and so I had OxyContin prescribed to me. And one night I woke up and I was really nauseous and dehydrated, and I was having headaches, and I don't know what possessed me to call my stepmom, but I called her. And I'm crying on the phone. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning, and she's like, "Who's this?" And I said who I was, and she goes, "What the fuck are you calling for?" And she's like, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "I don't feel good." And she goes, "What are you talking about?" And I told her about the wisdom teeth. She's like, "Oh fuck." She's like, "She's doing it to you too." I'm like, "Doing what?" She's like, "She's trying to overdose you. She did it to your Michael, who is my dad, who I found out."
Who you believe is your biological father. Yep.
And she hung up.
So you think your grandma was trying to overdose you?
Yeah, because there was a lot. There wasn't a lot in the bottle than what should have been.
Oh. Wow. Okay.
My grandmother was like the kind of person. Oh, she kept calling me gay. It was gay all the fucking time, all the fucking time. And I was allowed to wear females' clothes. I was allowed to shop in the female section. I was allowed to wear makeup and have my nails done. But when my grandfather came home, I had to take it all off.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I don't have. He has a gay son who I was raped by when I was little, and then raped again by when I was a little older. I was probably in my junior year of high school. I got raped again by him, and
By your grandfather's son.
Mm-hmm.
It's not blood
But
related
when I
to
tried,
you?
yeah, he was because my grandma remarried.
Oh. Okay.
So when I tried to confront them, and he just didn't want to hear it, so then I made up some excuse of why I lied about it, because he didn't want to have it. He was like, "Listen, my son's gay. I don't care if you're gay, but what the fuck is all this shit?" One time I tried growing my hair out, and I woke up and my hair was cut
Oh shit.
while I was asleep. He threatened to punch me. He would do this thing where he'd take his hand and he'd go. And then, he was always like, one time he threw me against the wall and then threw me on the bed. And at this time, I'm like really skinny. I think I was like 124. I weighed 124. I'm 5'5".
Mm-hmm.
Threw me on top of the bed, got on top of me, pinned my hands down and my legs, and he got face to face. And I forget what it was about, but he started telling me off and shit. He's like, "Where the fuck you gonna go?"
And how old are you?
I was in my junior year of high school.
Jeez, man, all this stuff happened like within like a year. Holy fuck! How long were you there?
I was there from half of my 10th grade year till my senior year. I took my grandmom's car because she said if you need it for emergencies, you can. And one of my friends in high school was stuck in the bad part of Millville. I had to go get her because her friends left her behind at the bad part of Millville.
Yeah,
So I just took it because they said if you need it and we're asleep, just take the keys.
Right.
If it's an emergency.
Right.
So I went and picked up my friend, and I picked up her other friends, and I was driving back home, and I got into a bad accident.
Oh shit.
The car slid. I just remember looking out the window, and the whole car flipped, but it was like I saw it, but I didn't see it, and then I hit a telephone pole, and it slid into a ditch and just slid way past the telephone pole. And my friends got out, and my knee was stuck between the windshield and the hood of the car. I had glass stuck in my knee, which taped into my kneecap. And all I remember is my phone going off and the radio and the car filling with water. I found my way out. I tried to call whoever. And my stepdad showed up to the scene because the cops, so naturally he heard it over the cop radio thingy. And my grandparents showed up. And nothing like, are you okay? Are you alright? Are you hurt? No. My grandmother started calling me every name in the book. And my grandfather, at the time he had knee surgery, so he was still on a cane. And he was like, you motherfucker. He's like, you fucking bitch. And he was getting ready to punch me. The cop said, listen, what you do at home is what you do at home, but not here.
Mm-hmm.
So we went down to the police station. And I got to the police station. And my grandparents, they're the kind of people, my grandfather has no backbone. So it's yes, honey, no, honey. Yes, honey, I love you, honey. My grandmother was like the one that ran everything. And my grandmother is the type of person, if you do something that makes her happy, she'll go to the bedroom, call her sisters, and tell them what you did, and then exaggerate it more to make you seem like the greatest person.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you do something that makes her mad, she goes and cries, and then exaggerates it. Well, I don't know what she told the cops, so I got called into the office, and the cop got really mad. My grandparents left the room, and he's like, you're a piece of shit. Your grandparents took you in the kindness of their heart. They didn't have to. They're close to retiring. They don't need somebody like you in their house. They had children. They're done. They didn't really have to. And he was going off on me, and when I tried to explain, he's like, I don't want to hear shit that you have to say.
Wow.
And when I was dismissed, they were already gone. They went back home. And I was left on the streets to sleep. And then I went to court for the accident. And then I ended up moving in with my aunt. And I was traveling back and forth between Vineland and North Wildwood to go to work.
Yeah.
And I had no car. And then eventually I ended up being homeless in North Wildwood because my aunt wanted $50 a week. No, $50 a month for rent. And I only got paid $100 to $200 something. And so that basically covered my smokes, my cell phone bill, food, and traveling to and from work. Because I would have to take a cab to the bus station, then the bus station to Atlantic City, then from Atlantic City to North Wildwood, and then a cab to work.
Right.
And then do it all back over again.
Holy cow.
Every day.
Right.
So I wouldn't get to my aunt's house till like 2 in the morning. So I got a text, oh, I need $50 starting tomorrow. And so I didn't go back. And I was homeless on the streets. And then I found a place. And then I met this girl who I thought was my friend. And then I got kicked out of my place. And then I looked for another one, and I was homeless, but I had a job. And then I found another place. And then this girl I was working with, who I thought was my friend, she's like, oh, do you want to come with me? And she's like, yeah. It was a funeral, so I wanted to go to support her. We went, and I woke up the next day because we had to go back to North Wildwood for work, and all my stuff was missing but my phone and my wallet. And she was going. I called work. I said, I don't know when I'm going to be able to make it into work, but I can't work today. And they said, you're fired. And then I was living on the streets of Hartley, Delaware. And I met this guy.
So wait. You went to a funeral in Delaware.
Mm-hmm.
This chick stole all your shit.
Mm-hmm.
Your work fired you. You had no way of getting back to Wildwood. And so you ended up being homeless in Delaware? Mm-hmm. What the fuck?
People tried to, this one couple I met, they were really, really nice, but I didn't know they were doing drugs.
Uh-huh.
They tried to get me to do it because they're like, listen, for us to know that you're not a narc, we need you to do this. And I said, I can't, I'm not doing drugs. Like, I'm very sensitive to medication. I don't know what that's going to do to me, let alone what I took for medication. You can give me a Tylenol and I'll be drowsy as fucking, can't concentrate at work. So when I'm sick, I go to work sick. And I have to fight through that until I can go home and actually take something to feel somewhat better.
Right, so you're kind of, so even if you made it back to Wildwood, did you have a place to go to in Wildwood, or you would be homeless no matter where you went? So I guess for context, it really didn't matter if you went back. So were you able to find work in Delaware?
I was trying to find work.
Wow, what were you doing? Like, what's the mindset that someone has to be in to be out there?
I was just trying to figure out life because I was like, I was in my 20s.
If you're gonna whisper, you gotta get closer to the microphone.
I was in my 20s. I think I was like 22, 23. This is after my ex dumped me a year before, and I didn't really talk to him much, and ended up in Hartley, Delaware, alone, no job, homeless. I met some people that took me in, and then the whole drug thing, and then one night I was sleeping on the couch, and I woke up to this guy trying to rape me because they were trying to pimp me out so they could get free drugs.
What the fuck?
And then they kicked me out, and then I was on the streets again. And then this one couple met me, and they took me in, and I was living with them. And then because I go for walks, so I didn't know Hartley, Delaware, in certain neighborhoods when you go for a walk, and you stop to ask somebody for directions and ask them if you want, that apparently they assume you're a whore and you're trying to have sex for money. So I didn't ask for money. I didn't ask for sex or anything. All I asked was, could you please walk with me? I'm tired of walking by myself everywhere. I'm scared and I'm alone. And they kicked me out because they had rumors going around that I was whoring myself out, and they didn't want it around their kids.
Which is not true.
No.
Right? You just didn't want to be by yourself walking. Okay. Because you can't sleep.
No.
Right.
So they ended up kicking me out because they thought I was whoring myself out because people were talking that I was a whore.
So you're in Delaware. How long are you in Delaware?
I was in Delaware so it was during the summer till maybe close to September.
Okay, of what year?
Maybe October. It was 2012.
Okay.
A year after my ex dumped me.
Okay. From Delaware, where do you end up?
My ex, I got a new phone somehow. I was doing like odd jobs. I was like helping an old lady take her trash out, and then she would give me money, and then I saved up, got a phone, and I texted him just to see how he was doing, and then I told him I was living in an abandoned food store, and I was eating out of the trash can.
And so, listen, I know this is very difficult,
No,
and I think if at any time you want to stop, you just let me know. Okay? And I don't mean to.
No, go ahead.
Right. So you're homeless, you're living in an abandoned food store, you're eating out of trash cans, and you are still living as a woman during this time?
Because I didn't know what transgendered was till 2011, and then I went home and Googled it because this is when I still had a home, and I Googled it, and that's when bells and whistles went off, and I was like, "This is me. This is what I am."
Right. Okay.
I'm not gay. I'm female. I like men. Like, you could be transgendered and like the same sex. If you go to the same sex, you're just lesbian or gay, but you're transgendered. So it's same for straight people,
right,
but you're just transitioning to the sex you identify as. So you can be straight, gay, lesbian, or whatever, but you're also transgendered.
Yeah.
So that's-
Right. So I understand. Yeah. So that I think is a very important distinction. That you're not gay. You're a woman. You're living as a woman, and you are attracted to men because you're a woman, and so that I think that's a very important distinction to make, and I think it takes an incredible amount of courage to tell your story, which I'm really glad you're able to do that. Have you ever told your story like?
It's very few people, very, very, very few people. And when they look at me like I have their heads like, yeah, okay.
Well, we're not. Listen, we got a long way to go still. But I do want to jump ahead just a tiny little bit before we continue on. I'll maybe give you a little bit of break from the heavy stuff. But have you considered going back to school for hair, nails, and makeup?
Maybe I don't have the money.
What does something like that cost?
It's a lot.
Do you know the name of the
I was
school?
actually offered a free scholarship because of my essay. And the reason I declined it is because my grandparents were like, well, since you got accepted and it's free, but here's the catch. I would have to repeat the 12th grade over and live with them. And I couldn't take another year living with them.
You wouldn't
so
want
I
to put
declined
yourself.
it.
Yeah. But that's years ago.
Yeah.
Have you looked into it since then? Are you familiar with any of the schools in the area?
No, not really.
No?
No.
And what would that be considered? Like a cosmetology?
Cosmetology.
Hey Joe, do me a favor on your Google box. Look up cosmetology schools near us, right? Well, let's not mention any towns. But do this for me. Let's take a look and see what a cosmetology school. Give me like a few names, and if there's like any tuition information, if you can print that out. Yeah, and then we can. I think that would be. Look, if you got a calling, you got a calling.
Yeah.
And definitely nothing should stand in your way if that's what you want to do.
Yeah.
I think difficult being in an area like this where, like we mentioned before, the diversity isn't there, and the acceptance definitely is very hard to come by. But I mean, if it's something you're interested,
It seems like the older I got after a certain age, after so much shit, and then doing stuff at home and stuff, I just kind of shut down and I lost all aspirations and dreams, and I kind of just, at this point, I don't know anymore. I'm just trying to live my day by day because it's just the way my life is going. I mean, it's going a little better because of where I'm working. I'm making pay, and I'm paying my bills, but at this point in my life, I'm just like, I don't know anymore. It's like, okay, yeah, I kind of want to do it now, but it's like, can I afford this?
yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
let's
can I
say
do
let's
this?
say in a perfect world, we were able to maybe attempt to try to help alleviate the worry of paying for school, and you could just go to school. Would that be something that you would want to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I know we talked
Because
about this.
also, I found out that there's math, and I'm really bad at math. I have dyslexia.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm bad at math, and there's a lot of math involved, and I'm worried about that because when I cook, apparently there's math involved when you
Cups
cook.
and
But
teaspoons.
to me, it's not math. I'm just cooking.
Right.
But
Right.
I'm afraid that they'll have a math test and I'll fail it and I won't get my state license because I won't be able to pass the math test.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something that I tell my daughter, because my daughter wants to go to cosmetology school. She wants to do nails. She wants to be a nail tech. And I make fun of her, but I don't make fun of her. She's horrible at math, right? It's like her worst subject, and she hates it. She's super psyched for next year because she doesn't have to take a math. She's got it all out of the way. But she's the only Asian on earth that's not good at math. you know, so it's like, you're dishonoring your family. You're not good at math, you know. But there are programs that are available to help people with all sorts of that need help, right? If you're dyslexic, I'm sure you would not be the first dyslexic cosmetologist, right? I know many cosmetologists that I wouldn't trust to do my taxes, right? Or read a book, you know? If you're good at something, you're good at something. If you are, you know, if you have a passion for something, you have a passion for something. And I know the first time we had a discussion, a big part of your life currently is that day by day, you know, you don't like to plan for the future because you don't really know, right? Because everything is kind of still for you, you know, up in the air, and I get it. It's very difficult. It's difficult to look forward to something when you don't really know, right? Is that the only one?
No, there's
You can print, bro.
It's not working.
Oh, it's not working. I heard it over there struggling. Maybe if you bought a printer that was made in, you know, within the last like year or two. I don't know. That thing's, you still got a hamster in there. Trucking along, pushing that ink down. Killing me. Yeah, I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people from all walks of life. We're going Saturday on a ghost hunt in Philadelphia, and I have a lot of people that you'd get along with, right? And I got a lot of people that...
For a second, I thought you heard me drinking because the facial expression.
No. I'm just trying to think of the words, right?
My friend, because when I drink, I can't help it, but my throat makes a noise.
You're a gulper.
No, I'm not.
You're not a gulper.
I have
Don't
no
get
gag
offended.
No, I have no gag reflex, and that's why it goes down like that.
It just...
Yeah.
You ever seen the Man Show on the old FX channel, FM channel? I forget what channel it was on. The guy that drank the beer.
Yeah.
Just goosh, goosh.
I was in my junior year of high school, and the guys would just line up and buy me popsicles, and I didn't know why. I thought it was because it's in the middle of spring, so it's hot. The windows are facing the woods, so there's no breeze coming in, and I loved popsicles.
Right.
Well, that's how I discovered I had no gag reflex, because I would stick it in, not realizing how far back it would go, and I found out guys were turned on by it, so they were all lined up to buy me popsicles every day. And after I graduated my senior year, I heard from this girl. She's like, "Oh, I haven't seen you in forever." She's like, "You know, I have something to tell you." She's like, "And one of these guys I am now married to, and I have kids with, but he told me that the reason you were getting," I was like, "Why am I getting so?" I was like, "I thought because I liked them." She goes, "No, they saw how you were eating it, and they were so turned on that they wanted to see it every day, and they would take out their phones and record it, and when they had a chance, masturbate to it."
What?
Yeah, because they liked the fact that I was deep throating a popsicle.
Well,
I didn't even know I was deep throating.
Yeah, so I don't think the normal person, regular, you know, when I get a popsicle, I don't, you know, stick it all the way down there. And, you know what
I don't
mean?
know. It's hitting the back of my throat.
Yeah, it's just you're just eating a popsicle.
Yeah,
Right.
I was just eating a popsicle.
You weren't doing it because you
No.
knew they liked it.
No.
You were just eating a fucking popsicle.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then when they found out that I was legally male, they all got together and had a bonfire and threw their old phones with all the recordings on it in there, because then they were like, "Yeah, no." Can't
Well,
believe
then,
it."
I mean, like, you know, I guess there's a fine line, right? So what are the rules, right? So like if you're a guy, there's a guy
Yes.
and he's attracted to a woman, it's okay.
Yes.
If you're a guy and you're attracted to a woman, but later you find out that woman was born a male, then it becomes not okay?
And that's how they see it.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
Because I'm like, if you see me as female and you were attracted to me, but then you find out what's between my legs, and they're like, oh no, sorry, I'm not gay. Or
Right.
they're like, oh, you're going to hell, or you're a fucking faggot, or whatever. And
Just like the rudest shit.
yeah.
So like you haven't, have you looked into like the whole like fully transitioning?
It's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's more expensive to go to female from male because the penis has the main artery running through it. So that can cause complications if they do the surgery. It's very risky. There's a lot of complications that can happen. And if they get it perfectly done, then they send you to the recovery house. And they keep you there for a few days because what happens is sometimes the surgery doesn't take. You can get gangrene. The hole can close up, so they have to go back in and reopen it. There's a lot of stuff that can happen. And then once you are discharged, you go home and you have dilators. They're different sizes. I call them fucking dildos. Because that's basically what the fuck they are. They're fucking dildos. And so you start with one size and you do that for like a year or two. And you do it like 3, 4, 5 times a day. You have to do it for like an hour.
What? Do what for an hour?
Use the dilator and stick it in what was created as the vagina and stick it in the hole. And then after that time period, you move up to the next size, the next size, and the next size. And the reason for each size and that so long and how many times you have to do it a day is to keep it open and keep the length open in the tunnel. So when you do have intimacy, you have sex, and the man sticks his dick in you, it's not gonna hurt, and it's not so tight to where he can't get it in. And hurt you.
Gotcha.
So, and then also it's kind of like a piercing. You get a piercing, you get it pierced, you have to leave the piercing in for so long.
6
then you
months,
switch it out, and then you gotta keep it clean. And then once it's healed, it doesn't matter if you leave it out or not. It's not gonna close up.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like that. Yeah.
Okay, just in a different
Yeah,
spot.
and it's a lot more expensive than it is for females to go to male because they're just adding something.
Right.
They're not going through a main artery.
Gotcha. That's interesting. Okay. But are you currently taking any?
I am not on hormones, and I have not had any surgery.
Okay.
So.
All right.
And it's funny because people are like, "You're not on hormones." I'm like, "No." They're like, "You look female. You sound female." Or I'd be on the phone with my bank, and they're like, "Well, this is male on the account. We need you to come in and prove who you are before we give you information."
What do you want? Do you want you to slam your balls on the
So
table?
I went to one bank one day, and I had to bring my social security card, I had to bring my birth certificate, my driver's license to prove, and my ATM card, and the information from when I first opened my bank account. I don't keep that shit.
Right.
I throw it away. So I went there. They still didn't believe me. So I whipped my dick out.
No way.
Yes.
In the bank.
Yes. I was like, now do you fucking believe
Yo,
me?
don't tell me where the bank is, but tell me the name of the bank.
PNC Bank.
PNC Bank.
I said, now give me my shit. And they were like, ho, okay. They were going like this, and I walked out. And some of the guys walked out, and they're just like, they didn't know what to do. Like, they looked really curious.
Yo, like.
They were like really, really curious because they were like so mind blown. Like, everyone's eyes got really big.
Yeah.
And their jaws dropped. And I remember when I dated one guy who was like, you know, when we're in the shower, he's like, you look female from the back. He's like, and you turn around, you look female until you get to here. Now, I have enough of this to make cleavage. Even when I was skinny, I had enough to make cleavage, but it's not a full boob. To where I could wear a push-up bra and I got boobies. It's barely a makeup. Like, you can get a nice handful if you grab it the right way. But I mean, other than that, I work out and it doesn't turn into a pack. It's just a really, really tiny boobie.
Okay.
So, but like, he's like, it's kind of confusing here because it's not a full boob. And then I look down, and then that's when I get turned off. And he's like, you know, and so like my sex life dating wasn't really a sex life. It was mostly me giving and not getting, which I don't mind giving because it gets me turned on, knowing that you, like, the guy's turned on.
Right.
Because I like to hear the guy moan. I like to see facial expressions. And a lot of them didn't make noises. So I'm like, am I doing this right? Is he enjoying it? No. He's just sitting there just laying back like this. And like, so I just stopped because I'm not sitting here doing this to please you. And I'm not getting anything in return. Like,
Right.
I don't have to do anything. I can go off and masturbate after I'm done. I was like, but knowing that you're feeling good and the facial expressions and hearing you whisper and moan and shit, that's what gets me going. Like, I don't have to do it. If you're uncomfortable with that, I don't have to play with myself. I can go home or whatever after I'm done and play with myself and get myself off from the image of that. Like, so yeah, but a lot of them weren't like, fuck, like, did you enjoy it? Did you not? Like, I'm like, I don't know. The one guy, he did tell me he wasn't a moaner or anything, but he told me my mouth was better than a pussy. I was like, what's that even mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means
like,
either.
What does that even mean? And at the time, I was friends with this one girl, and I went to her. I was like, yo, I was like, my boyfriend said my mouth is better than a pussy. She goes, he said what? And I said it again. She's like, I was like, what does that mean? She goes, I don't even know what that means, and I have a vagina.
Yeah, interesting.
I was like, okay.
Well, I mean, hey, you know, more power to you.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So needless to say that. So when's the last time you were in a relationship?
2011 in July or August. July or August in 2011.
2011.
Yeah.
So 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And I haven't had dick since.
12 years.
Yeah.
Interesting. And are you like, do you go on like dating sites or anything like that? Or is it like a time that you don't have time?
I go on dating sites, but then it's like I get played out. People like just do it to like catfish me. I've had a lot of people stand me up. Just people that just want to play head games.
Yeah, so I guess maybe a dating site. Some dating sites are pretty dangerous.
And then other dating sites I get kicked off of, I get banned from, because I put on my profile, because if you went onto my profile and you were interested in me, and you thought I was really pretty, and you wanted whatever, hook up, date, get to know each other, whatever, and you read my profile, the first thing you're gonna read is the fact that I put on there about me, because I don't want you to read my profile, get so far in, get so interested, and then read it.
Yeah.
I want you to know that first before you continue reading.
Mm-hmm.
And then after I put about me being transgendered, I put, what did I put? I put, okay, you made it this far? That's wonderful. And here's the rest of the information.
Yeah.
And it was like a lot of them would like not even read it. They would just hit me up. I'm like, I'm thinking they read it. So I'm like, oh great, I got a guy who's interested in me.
Right.
There's times where I just wanted to hook up and have sex, and I thought they read it, and then they want pictures, so I start sending pictures, and they're like, the fuck? Why are you sending me porn pictures from online? And I'm like, so then I just stopped. I think I sent nude pictures to only 2 guys. And then after that, I just stopped. I didn't do it with the guys that I dated because they just didn't want nothing to do with it. But I
Right.
sent to like 2 guys and they weren't even interested and they were like, this is disgusting, and they blocked me. So after that, I was like, I'm never sending nudes again. And every time I talk to a guy, it's the same thing. Or if they did read it, they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm totally interested. And then whether it was for a hookup or for dating, I would get stood up either way.
Hmm.
Yeah, so yeah.
You know, it's I guess maybe it's just a, you know, just it's one of them gray area things.
Yeah. And then I would go
Right.
on Kick, and I joined all the rooms for transgendered.
What's
And
a Kick?
Kick, it's an app, so
Okay.
you can join any chat room. It's like the world of chat rooms. So like if you're interested in fishing, you can go and join a room for fishing. If you like hunting, you
Is it a dating app or
No,
just an
it's
app?
just an app,
That's where it's like Reddit,
I guess.
maybe. I still don't know
There's
how to
like
use
all
Reddit.
kinds of groups. There's groups for fishing. There's groups for hunting. There's groups for hooking up and dating and stuff like this. And I joined all the rooms for transgendered.
Yeah.
And because I was not on hormones, they would literally take the time to pick at my photos and repost it on the chat. This is not a girl. This is not transgendered. This is a fucking faggot trying to pretend to be something he's not. They say he. That's something he's not, and this is why the rest of us trans girls get shit because of fucking faggots like this.
So you're getting hate from the trans community too?
And
But-
then I
well-
would join the bi room
Yeah. Well, why? Maybe we
because
addressed
I
it
don't
earlier.
I don't have like full boobs. I'm not on
Well,
hormones.
why aren't you on hormones?
I can't afford it. It's too expensive.
Oh, so it's not like something that Medicaid or
No.
insurance
Health
will-
insurance will not cover it unless the only way a health insurance would cover it is if it's a psychological thing and you're endangering yourself.
Oh. That's the only way they'll cover it?
Because they don't see it as a priority. They don't see it as a mental health thing or a personal health thing. They see it as just plastic surgery.
Yeah. Gotcha. All right, so I'm sorry. Continue.
No,
You would enter the
Um,
bi rooms.
So I would enter the bi rooms, and then they're like, well, you're not male, so you can't be in here, and I get kicked out. I would join the gay rooms just for shits and giggles. I got kicked out of there. They're like, you're not male, you're female, get the fuck out. I joined the bi room. This is for men only, get the fuck out. I joined dating sites, and I would get banned because I was female. Or, no, that was for transgenders. Because if you're biologically female, they didn't want you on there because they were afraid you'd take their men.
But you're not biologically female.
No.
But because you
But
look.
I put on my profile I was transgendered.
Yeah.
But they thought I was a female trying to pretend to be transgendered to find men. So I got banned from all those dating sites. Then I joined the straight ones. And then I got banned because people thought I was catfishing people by taking some female's photos and using it as my own.
Wow.
And then I get banned. And then I would join the gay one. I'm like, well, I have a penis. So I guess in a way, I'm like, but I don't think they'll go for it because they like men.
Yeah.
So I get banned from that. So I'm blocked and banned from every dating site.
That's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's almost like you're getting discrimination from someplace you shouldn't be being discriminated from, which is really weird.
And
that
then I'm being discriminated by my own kind and being torn down.
I don't, saying stuff like my own kind. That's not.
Well, I say my own kind because I don't know what else to call it. I guess my own sexual whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, your own gender, right? Yeah, that's so weird that there's like a class level in there. So you can be transgender, but you're on the upper echelon if you're on pills,
Yeah.
and you're on the lower echelon if you're not, and that's such a fucking like
I
a
was kicked
mean
out
girls.
of one room because it was called the Bougie and Beautiful Tea Girls. And I was kicked out because apparently I wasn't pretty enough.
That's fucking wild. That's fucking wild.
Yeah.
And this was on Kick?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm writing a letter. We're writing a letter to Kick.
I'm not even
Just
on
hang on
Kick
to it.
anymore. I deleted it because I got tired of it.
Yeah. Just hang on to it. Yeah. Yeah, that's fine. We'll talk about it. Yeah, I'm just like trying to process that it's even like that deep. You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know. That's just crazy to me.
Yeah.
That's just crazy to me. So, what year did you end up moving back to this? We're not mentioning the name of this town.
I moved into this town in 2012, around maybe September, October.
Oh, you've been here for a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are your experiences in this town?
I've learned to basically, if you, I guess, keep everything on the DL, because no matter what I do, if somebody finds out something or is said to something, then basically it gets around and then everybody knows everything. So like, if I wanted to date someone, I had to keep it on the DL because I didn't want people, because of who I live with.
Right.
The person I live with has a job where he's afraid he'll lose it.
Gotcha.
And the fact that we used to date, he doesn't want people knowing we're dating.
Mhm.
So, but at the same time, he doesn't want to find out that I'm dating someone. So I have to basically be the sneaky person and keep my whole private life DL. So like, he knows everything about me, I know everything about him, but there's a lot of shit that I found out about him that he don't know that I know that he was doing when we were dating.
Okay.
So there's shit that I found out about that. Then after he broke up with me, he continued doing what he was doing. So then it was like I'd catch him in a lie, and then he would get mad at me for snooping through his shit and be like, what are you doing? What does it matter? We're not dating anymore. But it's the fact, yes, we're not dating anymore, but it's the fact that you were doing what you were doing when we were dating, and then you break up with me and you're still doing it, and I'm like, I'm living in your house, and then you play this mind game of me thinking you still want me, but you don't. So I'm at that point to where now that I'm older, I'm like, you know what? You do you. I don't give a fuck. You know what you know about me, and I'm just gonna keep my personal sex life and dating life or friends with benefits life or whatever on the DL. I'm not saying shit to no one. Like, I have a friend and I love her to death, I do. But sometimes I wonder like if she's bipolar or something. So like, there's things I'm not gonna tell her because when she gets mad at you, like when she gets mad at people, she will tell me all kinds of shit about them.
Yeah. She moves to cut.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then she'll come down the next day and like, nothing ever happened.
Yeah. And not regret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know now not to say shit to her. Like if I have friends with benefits or I have a boyfriend or I have somebody that isn't really a friends with benefits but I'm doing stuff with, I'm not gonna say shit to her because I'm afraid it'll get around and then it gets back home and causes me issue at home. Because number one, that's my roof over my head.
Yeah.
Yes, me and him aren't dating, but it's still a roof over my head.
And you guys have an understanding.
Yeah.
Yeah, there is a, there is a give and take when it comes to like household duties and stuff like that.
So like
right?
I do the cleaning, I do the cooking, I help with yard work. If he's washing his vehicle, I help wash the vehicle. I take care of the turtles.
Turtles.
Yeah.
How many turtles?
There was 8, but some of them got loose, and one of them knocked up a female turtle and then ditched because I forgot to close the fence all the way. So they ended up pregnant, had babies, had 3, and then 2 of them died and the one survived. So 1, 2, 3, 4,
Here, bring that microphone a little bit
5.
closer to you.
So
when you
there's
talk. Yeah.
5 turtles
Okay.
left.
Okay.
And the one's a baby, one's a juvenile, and then the 3 are adults. 1 female, 2 males.
Gotcha.
Or is it 2 males? No, I think it's 1 male and 2 females. Yeah, and then the juvenile and then the baby. But like I have my duties around the house, and we play couch co-op games, which ever since he started hanging out with his friends from high school, it's kind of like I got forgotten.
Well, how old is this person?
He is 46.
46, and
Yeah.
he's hanging out with his friends from high school.
Yeah. Because he's not married or anything. So
Right.
But I feel like I kind of got like neglected, like before his friends moved into his life, which I'm happy he's got friends. I'm happy he's doing shit.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we would have fights all the fucking time. But it's like, I'm happy, but at the same time, I miss hanging out with them. So it's like, what am I going to do? I don't like, now it's like, I have a job. I don't hang out with anyone except for the one friend who I can't say shit to. Like, I told her about the podcast, but that's all I told her.
Yeah,
But
we
it's
heard.
like,
We
yeah.
heard you told her about the
Yeah,
podcast.
I told her about the podcast. I told her about the podcast because I was excited about it, and I told her about the ghost hunting thing.
Yep.
I told her about that. But like, other than that, like if it's like something that could hurt me or someone or hurt my living situation, I'm not gonna say shit because I don't want her getting mad and then spreading my shit to other people. I don't know who else.
Well, I've learned in
But this town is basically, if you want to do something, you keep that shit under wraps.
Yeah, I've heard this town is
Very
very
is everybody knows everybody and everybody knows everything about everybody.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that the few people that we've had up here, I know a lot of stuff about a lot of people, and I don't even know these people. The people that I haven't even done business with yet, I know like their whole backstory, right? So yeah, no, I totally get it. And someone in your situation, you really don't want the town knowing everything, because I think as it is, the town knows
Like
too
if I
much.
want to have sex, I'm gonna go out and have sex. Who the fuck's business is yours?
Right.
If I want to go on a date, I'll go on a date. What the fuck business? If I'm dating someone, why are you running to the person I live with for a possibility of me getting kicked out? It might not happen, but I don't know what he's like anymore because it's like there's so much shit that I found out about the person I live with, and it's not what I thought it was. Because now that I'm looking at it and I'm older and I'm a little more wiser, I'm now looking at things that are like red flags when we dated, and I didn't think of back then because I was young. So it's like,
Was a red flag painted white?
no.
A friend of mine told me that saying. When you paint a lot of red flags white, basically you know that this is an issue. It would be an issue, at some point, but then like you sort of ignore it,
Yeah.
right? And then you're just kind of painting it over.
Yeah.
So, and then you're not together anymore, and you see these red flags, and you're like, son of a bitch, I missed all those red flags. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean when you say something like that.
Yeah.
So what do you do? So when you're not working, what do you do?
I like to cook, play video games, bake, go on nature trail walks. I love storms. I love storms. I like getting caught in the rain on the nature trail walk.
This walk back here, yeah, that's a long trail.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. In the storms.
Joe goes out there in the middle of the night, and
Really?
he hears screams out there.
I always wanted to go on the trail walk at night, but I have no one to go with.
Dude, he's here sometimes late, And then
Yeah.
he'll take the camera out there and he'll go and he hears a scream and then he runs like a baby back over here.
Because
Right?
like,
No?
like I said, I'm a sensitive medium empath. So there's times no one's on the trail and it's just me. And I just, all of a sudden, something changes in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm being watched.
Well,
And I know no one's on the trail.
right.
And I feel like someone or multiple people are there.
Right. So I can tell you this, that, and without divulging too much, that was an old battlefield.
Okay.
Right. And yeah, that was an old battlefield out there. So there's a lot of people killed on that field way back in the day. There's a lot of history actually in this whole area because, correct me if I'm wrong, Joe, this is like connected to the Pine Barrens,
Yes.
right? So Pine Barrens runs through here, and
Okay.
right. So we're like smack dab in the middle of Jersey Devil country out here,
yeah.
also, right? Sighting wise, and there's just a lot of deep history out in these woods. So if you're ever out there and you feel there's a strong chance.
I wouldn't go out there. I've always wanted to go out there at night, but I was scared to go by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though I know how to handle myself, I'm still growing and I'm still learning with it. And let me tell you, me being a sensitive medium empath has developed quicker than I expected. I don't know how to handle certain situations. Oh my God, I could tell you some shit about me being a sensitive medium empath.
If you're gonna whisper, get closer to the
I
microphone.
can tell you so much shit about being a sensitive medium empath. It's like crazy. So like there. Oh my God. Okay. So here's,
We're gonna get into it. Here we go.
Here's the situation.
Yeah.
Can I go pee real quick? I
Yeah.
can
So if you
pee.
go down that door,
Okay.
well, you want to use the woman's bathroom? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I gotta ask.
I mean, I could use the men's bathroom if you want me to.
No, I don't care which bathroom you use. The woman's bathroom is out that door
Okay.
there. Down the stairs
Okay.
and out the door, and it'll be to your right
Okay.
or left.
I gotta pee real quick. And
Go
then
ahead. Go do your thing. Go do your thing. Okay, you got to do that. You got to slap because it syncs the audio file with the video
Okay.
file. Yeah, so
I thought
don't
that was
mind
like
me.
your introduction.
Nah, no. See, now you're gonna mess me up. Now there's 2 slaps. Don't do it again. All right, we just took a quick bathroom break. So you wanted to explain?
Oh yes. Okay. So this is in the house I'm living with now,
Mm-hmm.
with my ex. So I learned that when a person dies, their essence is left behind.
Okay.
I call it an essence or a memory bubble.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, what that is so like when a main event happens or something tragic, like something big happened, whether it's exciting or bad or gruesome or sad or whatever, a part of that is stained into wherever they were or wherever that thing happened at. And then when that person dies, and that's a whole other story of where I believe how we're created and stuff and all.
Mm-hmm.
But when they die, that's left behind.
Right.
Now you could move into a house and never experience it. Sometimes it'll happen within a few days. It'll just show up,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody will see it or experience something from it, because not everybody can see it. Or sometimes people will see like a full operation of it happening. It's kind of like when certain movies, when you tell a story, like Harry Potter, they go back and tell a story of how the 3 wands were made.
Yep.
Between the 3 brothers and the Grimm.
Right.
And it shows, it's kind of like that. It's kind of like that, but it's different for everybody.
It was like the Deathly Hollows. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it's kind of like that. So when someone dies, it may take a few days for it to happen. It may take a few weeks, months, years. It could be 20 years, and then all of a sudden something happens, and all of a sudden you experience that for yourself. I've only experienced it 4 times in my life. But it really creeps me out because I never experienced it with the living. So I've seen pictures of my ex when he was younger. Now, it was him when he was younger, but with the hair that he has now. Like, he has no flaws. Like, there's no aging showing, or there's no wrinkles. It's almost as if it was him when he was younger, but with the cut he has now and the clothes he always wears.
Right.
So, have you ever experienced, like, if you're going to the bathroom or you're taking a shower and you've lived with something, you lived with somebody so long that you don't even have to say anything, you just sense their vibrations and you sense their presence there, that you know, okay, well, I don't have to call out, I don't have to be scared because I already know who's in the bathroom with me, so I'm just going to continue showering, or I know who's in the house, even though the door, like if you're alone or somebody's in the house and they're upstairs and you're downstairs and you're going to the bathroom with the door closed and they walk by the door, you're not freaked out because you feel that presence, that you already know who it is. You don't have to call out like, Jennifer, are you there? Was that you? No, because you already have that sense of, you already know who it is. So I'm going to the bathroom. I'm tinkling. I say tinkling or potty. I'm tinkling or pottying on the toilet, and it's downstairs, and it was 2-3 years ago. And I get done, I flush the toilet. No, I was going to the bathroom still. And I was like, now the thing about my ex is when I come out of the bathroom, so there's a mudroom. And so like the mudroom's here, and then there's the walkway to the kitchen, and then there's the bathroom, and then the living room. So there's a doorway, and then a doorway to the bathroom, which I was in. I was going to the bathroom, and I thought somebody was outside.
Of the bathroom.
Yeah. And I knew it was him. At least I thought it was. Now, he has this habit of where he hides around the corner, and when I come out, he jumps out, and I get scared shitless, and I'm like, "Oh, fuck you! Like, what the fuck?" And he starts laughing because he thinks it's funny because of how I say "what the fuck" or "fuck you," and he thinks it's funny because of how I say it, and he laughs. So I thought he was gonna do it. So I'm sitting there, and I open the door, and I keep hitting this damn thing. So I open the door and I look through the mirror, because if you look through the mirror, you see part of the kitchen. I didn't see him in the kitchen, but the kitchen light was on. So I was like, okay, he must be around the corner in the mudroom. So I started laughing. I started giggling and laughing, and after a while of laughing and giggling, I'm like, okay, he's not gonna jump out until I walk out. I was like, but I know I'm gonna get scared,
right.
So I took the toilet plunger. I was going like this off the big through door. And I was laughing my ass off so hard because I'm thinking in my head, like, he sees this and I'm picturing of what he's probably going to think.
Yeah,
and
right.
it made it more funnier. Like, what the fuck was there? Toilet plunger, like, the fucking, probably him laughing and trying not to laugh so hard to where I know that he's there. So that's what I was thinking. Of what he might have been doing around the corner when he sees this. So I did it to be funny, to be like, aha, I know you're there, so when I walk out, I'm not scared now.
Right.
Nothing happened. So I put the toilet plunger, and at this point, I'm freaked out. Because I'm like, okay, well, if that wasn't him, nothing's happened. What the fuck? So I walk out, so like, because we don't have mics that attach to us. So if this is the doorway and I walk out like this, I look, and this is the doorway, and it's him, but it's the younger him, but with
Okay.
the hair he has now
Right.
and the clothes he wears now.
Yeah.
And I swear to God, it's as if I'm looking at you right now.
Clear as day.
Yes.
Wow.
And he's standing there and
Uh-huh.
he's staring at me. And I'm like, Mike?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, hello? And
His name happens to be Mike too.
yes.
All right, go ahead.
So he's staring at me and he's like, and then I'm like, this isn't funny. This isn't funny. What are you doing? Like, what's the matter? Are you okay? And I keep looking behind me. I'm like, is somebody in the house? Like, what's... So I look back and he stares at me and he turns to the side and one leg lift up to walk away and the other arm swung this way. And I'm staring at him. I'm like, Mike, where are you going? What are you doing? You don't have shoes on. I'm like, you don't have your keys or your cell phone. Where are you going? And I'm standing there trying to figure this out. But I didn't hear the back door open.
Right.
Because the door makes the noise when you open it because of the click. When
Yeah,
you
yeah,
close it. And then you have the second door that he scrapes against the fucking pavement because it's hanging low. I'm standing there, I'm trying to process this. I'm like, why am I trying to process this? Let me follow him. I want to know where he's going. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, is he okay?
Yeah. Is he sleepwalking? You know? Yeah.
So I go to the back door. The doors are closed. I'm like, well, I didn't hear the back door. So I went to the kitchen. I grabbed the flashlight. I'm not thinking about shoes. I run out to the backyard, and our backyard goes all the way to the highway.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a long backyard, and there's wooded parts. So it's like dark out, and I'm like running out there looking for him, and I can't find him. I'm like, where the fuck did he go? And I come back into the house, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like, and then I put the flashlight away. Then I hear his door open.
His door.
His bedroom door.
Okay. Uh-oh.
So he comes down the steps and he's looking at me. He's like, I start like tearing up. Like, I'm tearing up. And I just felt frozen. And he's looking at me and he goes, why are you so pale? Like you saw a ghost or something? Are you feeling okay? Why are you crying?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, and I couldn't speak, so he sat me down. He's like, calm down. He's like, what's the matter? I was like, you wouldn't believe me if I told you, because when I explain shit to you, you look at me like I got 3 fucking heads.
Yeah.
So that's why I don't tell him about me being a sensitive empath medium and what the fuck I deal with in the house on a daily basis.
Right.
And I told him, I'm like, listen, this is what I saw, and I showed him, I reenacted it for him. I'm like, and he's sitting there laughing. And I'm like, you little fucker. So I got up. I was like, it was you. So I got up and I went to the front door to open it. Because if I can open it, it means, if I look at the little knobby thing and it's turned this way, it means it's locked. But if it's this way, it means it's unlocked. So my thinking is, if it's unlocked, he probably went around the house, through the front door, went upstairs. So when I come back in and he comes downstairs, he's playing a fucking mental game with me.
Yeah.
Because of all the times that I've told him about me being a sensitive empath and what I experienced in the house. But it was locked.
Uh-oh.
So I'm like, I was like,
So he doesn't believe you.
no.
That's crazy.
And then there was one time I was doing my makeup, because at the time when I first moved in, my bedroom was in the office. And we moved everything out so I could have it as my bedroom. And I was doing my makeup in the downstairs bathroom, and he hates it when I leave my shit in there. And I'm like, where else am I supposed to put my makeup? I'm like, so I'm doing my makeup. And we had an important event to go to. It was like the first event that I've ever been to that he does. So I wanted to look real nice. So I did the whole 9 yards. I'm doing my eyeliner. There's a sense that you get when somebody runs up on you without even looking.
Yeah.
Well, it was so heavy that it went right through me. And I fell to the floor. And I, like, sitting there, I'm like, what the fuck? Mike, what the fuck? He goes, what? And he's in the kitchen, I hear the water running. And I'm like, that's not funny. And I went to crawl to get up. And I looked into the kitchen, and I was like, you know, I could have poked my eye out to him, my eyeliner. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, you bombarded me. He's like, no, I didn't. I was like, yes, you did. You're the only one in the house. And then it happened again a year later.
Yeah.
Same thing happened. And I was like, what the fuck? And he's like, I didn't do it. I'm like, who the fuck did?
Yeah.
Now, I found out who it was. I didn't find out who it was. I found what it was.
Okay.
And it was a human. It was a lower demonic demon.
You think so?
It was.
How do you know?
Because of the way it only came out at night. And I always had a feeling something about on the third floor. And the shit that I would hear at night in the walls and stuff like that. And me try to explain it to my ex, and he would just pass it off as mice in the walls or something.
Do you think that Mike would be open to having an investigation at the place?
No, he's very private.
Yeah?
He's very private. He doesn't want. I don't even know if he's gonna see this, because if he sees this, he's gonna look at me like, "What the fuck?"
Well, no one's saying anybody's.
I know.
Yeah.
But no, he's very private, and he doesn't want people he doesn't know in his house.
I understand that.
So
understand.
I mean, I've always wanted to do it there, but he would never allow it.
Okay.
But it was a lower demonic demon, because I've dealt with demons before, just not as low as this one. But this one seemed to have a take to me for some reason.
Okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
It was tall, so very, very slender, and black. And I remember every night I would go to bed, and when I had my bedroom downstairs, it would like lean over into the doorway and just look at me. And it did this 3 times a night. I don't know what it did after I went to sleep. I don't know. It was weird, because I'd wake up and my mattress was moved a certain way.
Are you a good? Can you draw well?
Yeah.
Have you ever tried to like sketch this thing out?
No.
Try that.
Okay.
If you do that, or if you happen to snap a picture of it, or snap a picture, like, you know, if you can
Yeah.
just like take a picture of it, we have a wide network of people that, you know, we can actually send that stuff to, and they can take a look at
Okay.
it. But that's more Joe's arena. You
But
know?
I think it took a liking to me, and I think once I got freaked out by him, he kind of like, I ignored him. Because I always thought the more you ignore them, the more they go away, because now you're not giving them attention. So when
Right.
he got mad, that's when he bombarded me the 2 times, because
Gotcha.
I ignored him and
'Cause you
wasn't
ignored
giving
him,
him
yeah.
attention. But I don't know why he took a liking to me. Like, there's
You
shit.
still feel that?
No, he's gone now.
Okay.
He's gone now. Ever since the cat died.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The cat died, and it was funny, because that's when I
You had a
lost
cat.
at him. I had a cat, Lily, Tavico, sleep in my bedroom every night, and it knew that when I went to bed, it would go to my foot of my bed. Well, this night, she was up here, and I'm on my laptop. At the time, I had a laptop, so I'm going through my laptop viewing YouTube videos,
Right.
and I guess I fell asleep. And usually she knows better not to sleep up here. She knows to go to the foot of the bed when I fall asleep, but I guess she decided to stay up here. And I woke up and I had to go potty, and usually she'll get up and go to the bathroom with me and just sit there and nip at my thigh. But she didn't. I was like, okay, fine, I guess, you know, whatever. I got done going to the bathroom and I came back. I went to pet her and she was just rock hard.
Oh
And I
no.
looked at her face and her eyes were wide open and her mouth was like,
Oh my goodness.
I was
It died
like,
while
right
you were
next to
sleeping?
me while I was sleeping. But its mouth, the way its mouth was open was like,
Yeah.
and his eyes were open.
Yeah. That's crazy.
And I buried it and it was storming that day and I had to go to work and I went out there and I'm in my nightgown and I dug a hole and it's raining and the mud is just seeping into the hole that I'm digging and I'm seeping into the mud and I finally get it dug and I'm trying to get myself out of the hole and then I get out of the hole and my feet are just gooked with mud and I put the cat in and bury it and then go to work and I forgot I was in my nightgown and covered in mud and I went to work like that
Holy
because I
cow.
was just so
Just
shocked
out of
from
it. Yeah.
and they were like, what the fuck? And they were like, go home, take a shower, get changed, come back to work. I'm like, okay.
Holy cow. That's crazy.
I had one time with my grandparents, and I feel like I still have an attachment to that house.
Mm-hmm.
So I have dreams. It used to be every year. They started when I was 13, and then I had one once when I was little,
Yeah.
and I didn't have it again until I was 13.
Okay.
So it started happening once. I had it once when I was little, and then when I turned 13, it started happening every year before my birthday. And now that I'm older, it's 2 times a night before
Yeah.
my birthday, where. So I wake up and it's my grandparents' house, but there's no furniture. So I walk out of my bedroom, and across from my bedroom is the bathroom, and then the hall, like not even a hall. It's like you walk through, and
Right.
there's what used to be the family room got re-renovated into the dining room, but in the dream it's still the family room.
Right.
And then the kitchen, and then there's an archway because the dining room, family room. So the dream is always back before it was re-renovated.
Right.
So when I moved into my grandparents, it was re-renovated from when I was little. So in the dream, it's back when I was little, not when I moved in older.
Right.
So my room's here. No, my room's here, and this is the bathroom. And then the front family room, the dining room, and then a carved arch like this goes into the kitchen. It's a small little kitchen, and then there's a little platform step down, and it goes into the den room. And then you have the sliding glass doors and the garage door.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's dark. It's nighttime. It's always fucking nighttime. There's no furniture in the house. And then you get to the kitchen, and there's this beam of bright moonlight coming through. And then you get to the steps, the step down into the mudroom, and that's where it gets weird. So there's like, say this is the fucked up head.
Mm-hmm.
And so it'd be like head, like perfectly even row, and then sprawled out to the wall. And then white candles. And then there's perfectly good heads the same way over here lined up, even rows. Like kind of like a parking lot, evenly perfect rows of cars. And there would be like 6 of them in a row, and then there would be 10 of them.
So are we talking like severed heads?
Yes.
Okay.
But they're like really fucked up heads, missing an eye, bashed in,
Yeah.
missing a jaw, and or some of them would still have flesh
This
on
is a
them.
dream you're having.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then on the other side, it's perfectly good heads, like my head, your head, just cut off and just sitting there. And then there's like, it goes like this of candles, but they're white. No, the white's on the bad side. The black's on the good side of the heads. And it's a perfectly well walkway to the garage door from the mudroom. So I walk it. I open the door. Now when you get to the garage door, there's the garage, which is where we do our laundry. And then there's the garage door, and then right there, as soon as you walk out, there's step, and then the steps to the basement.
Yep.
The door's opened a bit, just like that much. And then there's a light that's in the basement. It's just set up exactly how I remember it when I was little. And there's a light that it didn't flicker in reality, but in the dream it did. It always flickered. It was like, and you'd hear it. And you go down the steps. And then there was the rec room. And then there was the other part where, when I was little, that's where the washer and dryer was. It wasn't up in the garage. It was down there. And then further back, there was a light, but it would blow out and then come back on, and there was a noose. There was a noose. And I walked so far ahead, and then the light would go out. And then when I walked through, before I went fully through to the noose, where the fucked up heads were upstairs, there were good bodies, like from my neck down, perfectly fine, not fucked up bodies. And then where the good heads were the fucked up bodies. So it's like someone took the fucked up heads and switched the bodies from both heads. And it was hanging from the neck down.
Oh shit.
In the basement from the ceiling. So like
right.
Ceiling,
so the heads are above.
Yeah.
The ground. Right.
So like where the fucked up bodies were, the perfectly good heads were, and then where the perfectly good bodies were, the fucked up heads were.
Yeah.
So I walked through the rows of bodies because it led me to the news.
Yeah.
And I felt like something was wrong, and I got really weirded out.
Yeah, I would say that there is something wrong with that.
So I would turn around and I would start running. And then once I got past the pole, it's the rec room, and then there was a pole.
Yeah.
Once I got past the rec room, I got near the pole.
Yeah.
The door would slam shut, the light would go out, and you see the light coming from the crack, and then it would go out. But I could somehow see the door, and every time I thought I was getting closer, it would just shoot back further, and I felt like something was coming up behind me, and it just, whatever it was, I remember it was black, purple, and blue, and it went through between my shoulder blades and out the center of my chest, and you just see the stuff illuminating off of it. And when I wake up, I can't breathe. Like, I'm on the floor. Like, I get up and I just plop out of bed. I don't get up out of bed. I try to, but nothing moves my legs, and I just fall out of bed.
Right.
And I'm crying. I'm crying because I can't breathe, and I'm crying because I can't cry. So my face is just watering,
right.
But I can't make a noise. I can't call out. And this is after I wake up from the dream, and it lasts for an hour.
Holy cow.
And then after that, I'm like, well, I can't go wake up my friend to tell him, hey, listen, to comfort me. So I got to deal with this on my own. And it's every 2 nights now before my birthday. And it's the same dream.
And you have this dream every year? Holy cow. What do you think
and
it
I
means?
deal with that every year. The pain and the not breathing and my face just running tears because I can't call out for help. I can't scream.
Yeah.
And it happens 2 times every year before my birthday. So like once my birthday's on the 21st, so it happened the 2 nights before the 21st
Of April.
Yeah, September.
Oh, September.
September.
Okay. Wow. Yeah.
But when I was younger, it would happen every year 1 day before my birthday, and it's progressed to 2 days now. And I feel like I still have an attachment to the house.
Your grandparents'
Yeah.
house. Yeah. I don't know, Toni. What do you think that means?
I don't know. Part of me wants to go back because, like I said,
Are they still there or no?
no, they live in Millville now.
So is the house empty?
I
or?
heard that a couple moved in, and they were a couple, and they were planning on working on a child.
Okay.
And when I found that out, my heart broke because I know the secrets still lie within the walls. And I was just like, they're not going to make it. And then a couple months later, they got into really bad fights, and then they got a divorce and moved out of the house.
Okay. So they didn't make it.
No. And then a couple months later, it got sold again to another couple, and the same thing happened. And then last thing I know was a good friend of my grandmother's who was a lawyer or something moved in there, but I don't know if he's still living there.
Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
part of me wants to go back.
Yeah. I don't know what would you, yeah.
If somebody's living there, what the fuck am I gonna say?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Hi, I grew up here. There's some shit going on, and I still feel attached to the house. Can I come in?
Yeah, I don't think, yeah, I'd be like, nope.
They look at me and call the cops.
Yeah, I'd be like, hard pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, well, listen, we are, we've hit we're past 2 hours now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna call it.
Okay.
But I'd definitely love to have you on again.
I'd love to come back. And
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll pull the schedule out and we'll take a look. I think I think at the beginning of the podcast was great. We definitely got a lot of that out, and then I think we took a left turn somewhere. Yeah, but I think a lot of really good stuff, man, and I really hope that things start working out a little bit better for you, and if we can help in any way, Joe and I, Design Fly Studios, if we can help out, we would love to at least attempt to, right? So I know Saturday you're coming out with us to Philadelphia. You're gonna meet my good friend Sue Murder is her name. Call her Sue Murder. Super cool chick. I've known her for years, like since 06 or 07, 2006, 2007. So we've been friends for a very, very long time. She's super in tune with the art community in Philadelphia, and I think you'll be able to network really well. And I learned a lot listening to the conversation, and I really thank you for opening up. I know it's not easy.
No, it's fine.
I know it's not easy.
Because I don't cry in front of people, because it's like I always got when I cried, it was like, boys don't cry, or if I did cry, it was like, why are you crying? There's nothing to cry about, or suck it up and just get through it, or oh, why are you reminiscing on the past? And it's like, I don't reminisce on the past. The past is the past. I know that.
Mm-hmm.
It's still in the back of my mind. I just don't think about it.
Right.
But every so often something will bring it up, and I want to cry, but then I don't cry, even though I want to cry. And then when I don't cry, I just suppress all my emotions until something really bad happens, and then I explode, and then...
Well, listen. Past is the past.
I think this is the first time I've ever cried in like 6 years in front of someone.
Well, listen, past is the past, but
Yeah.
it is who we are and
Yeah.
why we are who we are. So it's important. And you shouldn't be ashamed of any of that stuff. You only learn lessons, right? People you want to keep in and people you don't want to keep in your life. So we're going to wrap this. Thank you so much again for coming out. All right. Very cool.